question by Twitter is, I'd like to know, let me pull it up on screen, how Ron Paul would explain economic crises before the Fed was created. It can't be all the Fed's fault.
That is a good question, because there were certainly booms and busts, but there was a lot of times inflation by fractional reserve banking that wasn't prohibited. We certainly had a lot of inflation during war times, whether it was 1812 or whether they inflated, especially during the Civil War period. Matter of fact, they went totally off the gold standard in the Civil War period. But it was always excessive credit. That means we did not have a perfect system before. But if you took the long term, say from the beginning of our country up until 1913, because they usually would go back to restraining the effort, to inflate, prices remain relatively stable. Long term. It's only been since 1913, especially since 1971, when the last link of gold has been removed. So those dips and crises that occurred, they usually were short-lived, because they got out of whack by excessive credit going into the market, a lot of speculation, but they knew to leave it alone. They didn't try to prop up all the bad investments and the bad debt. There was no rescue operation, and it was over rather quickly. But this argument's going on for a long time. Jefferson and Hamilton argued about this, about a central bank. And we had two central banks early in our history, and Jefferson got rid of one and Jackson got rid of the other one. So it's an ongoing process. But it's the secretness and the power that exists with a central bank that finally usually arouses the people to the point in saying, this is a bad deal. We need to know more about what's going on.
We have about 15 more minutes with Ron Paul. Next telephone call is from Port Charlotte, Florida. This is John, Independent Line.